So one of the great things about the Discord being just in full force and popping all the time is I have exactly zero desire to go to any of the soap forums on Facebook, which is good because those places be toxic AF. And I have a cool community, in the Discord that does all the idea sharing and the pictures and all of the fun, soap things. And I love it. But one of the crappy things about the Discord being in full effect and popping nonstop is that I don't get to keep up with the weird controversies and bad information that's being thrown around. And so that's, good for my mental health, but bad for, debunking bad information, really. So I don't know. It's like a win on one hand and a lose on the other. And that actually does have something to do with today's video. And I will tell you what that something is in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 331 of 365 days of soap, and today we are talking about why people overcomplicate soaps. And I'm not talking about like overcomplicating soaps in the adding too many things to a recipe, although we do that as well, for sure. I'm actually talking about why people overcomplicate what soap actually is when discussing it with other people, and therefore continuing to spread wild misinformation. And I want to talk about this because I've been getting a number of comments along this vein in the past few weeks on very old videos about like soap paste or whipped soap, and asking, kind of basic questions. Can I use this for thus? Or can I make all the things? And when I respond to them and say, yes, of course you can, they're hitting me back with, wow, that's wildly different information than what I got on a forum. They said it couldn't be done. And it got me thinking yet again about why so much misinformation exists out there, why we continue to perpetuate it instead of just actually looking at the soap making process very logically. And so that's what we are going to do today while I am making and or stamping something. I don't know. I think I'm making shampoo bars. So let's get to the video and we will talk about all the things, there. Okay, so this video actually stemmed from just one too many people asking basically a variation of the same question over multiple videos. And that thing is called, can I turn one thing into another? I have received questions in videos about soap paste. Hey, can I turn soap paste into just a whipped soap without turning it into a sugar scrub? Yeah. Can I turn soap paste into a melt and pour base? Well, yeah. I explained that in the melt and pour, videos. And then I got, can I turn soap paste into a liquid shampoo? And I'm like, yeah, you totally can. You can turn, just soap shreds from cold processed soap that you made and, have shredded up into a liquid shampoo, into a liquid, hand soap, into a body wash, into a whipped soap, into a melt and pour glycerin base. You can do. And I mean, I didn't say all that. I'm telling you all that. I just basically responded with, yeah, you sure can. You can absolutely turn soap paste into a liquid shampoo. It's just all about what you add to it after you melt it down in a crock pot and add some fun stuff to it. And they responded with something along the lines of, wow, I asked this question in a forum and got told that I could never ever do that. And, I am, wrong, essentially. And then they followed up with, now I understand why you say to stay away from the forums. And you should 100% stay away from the forums, because every single question that you ask out there, somebody is going to find some reason to nitpick it for some reason. And also, when you're asking a sort of off the wall question, like, can I turn soap paste into shampoo? Anyone who even knows how to make shampoo, but only knows how to make shampoo, might initially say, no, you can't do that, because they did it from scratch, not understanding that effectively what they made in the first place was still soap paste anyway. And that got me thinking about why we overcomplicate and why people are so precious about soap, thinking that you can't take literally any recipe or variation of, be it cold process, hot process, soap paste, soap shreds, and turn it into realistically whatever it is that you want. Something that I think people need to remember or learn or keep in mind is, at the end of every soap thing, no matter how you made it, you are left with a glycerol and a fatty acid salt. No matter what. Changes based on, what type of oil you have used. So the fatty acid salt changes slightly, but every soap recipe ends with a glycerol and a fatty acid salt, no matter what. And so you can take that and modify that to your heart's content to create all manner of other products. Shampoos, whipped soaps, glycerin soaps, all the things. And I talked about in the melt and pour videos from scratch or whatever, that it's all about the solvents, baby. And it is for melt and pour, which is why you can take literally anything, soap scraps included, melt it down, add some oils, add your solvents, and yeah, you can create melt and pour. You can create liquid shampoo. You can create hand, wash or whatever. All of these things are completely possible because every single iteration of every single soap is a glycerol and a fatty acid salt. There's nothing that changes your method to creating a soap hasn't changed that end sum. You still have your base ingredients that go in, and you modify them to create something different. And you can modify them after the fact without problem. And I think one way to sort of logically think about this is think about what cake is made out of, right? Now think about what brownies are made out of, right? So with a cake, what do you have? You have flour, you have some sugar, you have a fat, and you have some sort of leavening agent, probably eggs. With brownies, you have a flour, you have a sugar, you have a fat, and no leavening agent. Maybe you do. You have an egg. Whatever. But the different amounts, it's all based on the different amounts of the things that you put in, but the base ingredients are still the same. And realistically, the end product is also still the same, sort of chemically. You just have more sugar and or fat. And if you know that, you can have 5 staple things in your baking repertoire to create hundreds of different types of baked goods, so too is the same with soap. The basic same components went into every type of soap that you made, no matter the method, and the basic same components, a glycerol and a fatty acid salt, come out at the end. Now, then you can go ahead, which is unlike baking, you can go ahead and you can take that down, you can reheat it, you can add stuff to it, and you can create other things. You can create a whipped soap, you can create a soap paste, you can create a whipped sugar soap scrub, you can create a melt and pour base, you can create liquid soap from a cold process recipe via hot process and putting in, solvents-ish. It's not really solvents in, you know, a liquid like shampoo, but you get the idea. So yeah, I think we need to stop complicating this just because it got complicated 100 years ago before any of us were born, because commercial, you know, detergent bars became a thing, and the artisan soap makers, or just soap makers in general, that were doing this as something like they had to every day, just like cooking, just a very basic thing, tried to make it fancy. Or two, more accurately, you don't understand the thing that you're making, and you're being a little bit too precious about it. It's not that complicated. Again, remember, for more often than, I mean, just up until the last 100 years, every single person that was making soap was doing it as a chore, as something they had to do for with which to get clean for like thousands of years. It's not that complicated, and you can definitely play with it. So there it is, all things history of soap, I suppose, and why we overcomplicate the soaping process. And yeah, we should stop, like collectively. We should just start using our common sense and stop just continuing to parrot bad information for no good reason other than you don't understand the process. Understand the process. This is a very simple thing. At the end of all soap making, you have a glycerin, you have a fatty acid salt, and you can manipulate that a number of ways. So keep that in mind. And also do really keep in mind that if you are capable of baking something, a cake and or brownies, you are capable of doing the exact same thing in soap. Basic chemistry applies to both, and everything is not nearly as complicated as people otherwise want to make it out to be. So obviously ask the questions, do the things, you know, ask the questions here because you won't get, you know, lambasted for being dumb or wanting to do something that's outside of the realm of possibility. And, you know, always test. And first and foremost, always use your common sense. It got you this far in life. It will get you through soap, for sure. So that's it for me today. I know it's a quick and dirty vid, but I still have loads of stuff to do after playing catch up from, you know, the whole playlist I dropped in like 2 days time. So I'm going to go continue trying to play catch up. But thank you for joining me today. A big special thank you to my sudsers and to the people that are not afraid to ask the questions here, knowing that this is a safe space. And, you know, if you are a dick in my comments, you get booted and you don't get to play here anymore. So thank you for everybody for following the rules, for being respectful, for engaging in discourse, using your common sense, and, you know, just existing in this space. Thanks. You're awesome. I'm out of here for today, but I will see all of you guys again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.